Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. This is a series where we get you excited about heading back into New South Wales and taking photos again. Today on the show, we've got Filippo Rivetti. Filippo, how are you?
Hi, Mitch. Very well, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Look, you're an Italian photographer, and an interesting story with you. You moved over to Australia, moved to New South Wales, and that's what inspired you to start taking photos.
Yeah, that's right. I moved here in 2007. I initially worked as an engineer, but my passion brought me to photography a few years after.
What is it about photography that you love so much?
Mostly I love traveling and photography. So one inspires the others pretty much. So of course I love to explore all the beautiful nature and everything in New South Wales. And that inspired my photography a lot. So travel and photography, they are linked together.
What is it about New South Wales that you love so much?
Well, I love that I live in this beautiful city, Sydney. And, just taking the car, you can go pretty much in the nature, just driving for 1 hour. So it's really amazing, especially, I live in Italy. We have so many people, so many cities. It's difficult to get into the nature, especially so close to the city.
Let's get into your first photo and talk about somewhere that is close to Sydney, just down the south coast in Jervis Bay. What can you tell us about this photo behind you?
Okay, this is Steamer's Beach in Jervis Bay. It's a very little beach that you can reach only by walking, about 45 minutes. And it's really amazing, especially because there are not many people. If you stay at night, you are pretty much by yourself. And it's the Milky Way arching over Steamer's Beach. And it was taken a few years ago, around this time of year, when the Milky Way season is starting. So you can see the core of the Milky Way rising.
And this is not a far drive from Sydney, is it?
It's about 3 hours drive from Sydney, so not too far. Definitely.
Why do you travel out of the city to take photos of the sky?
You actually don't need to drive that far away from the city to get a beautiful picture of the sky, because we are very lucky with dark skies. You could actually drive just to Palm Beach pretty much, and you already have very dark skies, or to the Royal National Park. But of course, if you can get a bit farther away, you can get even darker skies. So that's the main reason.
And the South Coast in particular, what is it about the beaches down there that you love?
So nature and not many people around. You can literally have a place for yourself if you know where you're going. And it's just beautiful.
Now, one of your biggest parts of your work is time lapses. What can you tell us about time lapse from this area?
Time lapse around here, mostly I go for the night skies, so to get these beautiful Milky Ways. But also, you can find beautiful places all around Jervis Bay, not only the beach, but just around in the actual walks in the national park. It's really a beautiful area to capture, everything.
What is it about time lapses that you love?
In my opinion, it's a bit like old film photography. So where you take a picture, you don't know exactly what you capture, and you have to go back home, develop the film, and hopefully get something beautiful out of it. Time lapse is pretty much the same feeling. So you are in the field, you're taking picture, but you still don't know exactly what the final result is going to be until you go back home and you put it on the computer and you start seeing coming to life.
All right, so talking about taking photos outside of Sydney and of the sky, let's move on to this next photo. Really incredible photo here. Where is this?
Here we are in the Royal National Park, so it's just an hour drive from Sydney. And as you can see, it's already dark skies. This is a particular technique. It's called star trails. It's a technique that lets you see the movement of our Earth rotating around the sun. And this creates all the stars trailing, in this case, around the South Star. So pretty much it's just a camera on a tripod. It's taking a lot of pictures, but the stars looks like they're moving in the sky around the South Star. When you combine them together, they leave a trail behind them pretty much.
What can you tell me about the framing of this shot?
Of course, the main focus of this picture are the star trails rotating around the South Star, but I want them to be framed in a nice way. So I found this kind of little cave or rock overhangs where I could be inside a little bit and it could frame the sky. This gives a nice effect, of course. Just having the sky by itself wouldn't mean much. It could be anywhere, but having these rocks silhouetting against the sky, that's what makes the shot.
Where did you learn to shoot this sort of photography?
Pretty much always loved the night sky. So that's my favorite kind of photography. And where actually time-lapse shines, it's during nighttime photography, because you can show something that you cannot show in any other way. So the movement of the stars. something that moves so slowly that our eyes cannot capture. And that's another one of the reasons why I love time lapse. You are able to show something that you wouldn't be able to see in any other way.
What is it about the Royal National Park that you love?
Royal National Park is, one of my favorite parks. It's a very unique park because you have this amazing coast and it's all along the water. But at the same time, you have all the forest and the vegetation next to the coast. So you can pretty much hike and feel like you are in a mountain range pretty much, but you are very close to the ocean. So when you get to the coast and you have this amazing sandstone cliffs and very high drops, some beautiful beach, and it's all mixed together where you can actually walk it in a day. It's just 1 hour south of Sydney, so it's very easily accessible, very, very beautiful.
Talk to me about the feeling of being there in the moment. You know, it's nighttime, you're there by yourself or with a friend maybe, and what is that moment like?
That's pretty much one of the things that I love the most, especially in this particular shot. You need to walk about a couple of hours at least to get to this spot. And then you get there, of course, before it's nighttime. So you enjoy the sunset, you enjoy maybe having some food, you start framing up your shot, get everything ready, and then you just wait for the night to fall. And then when this magic starts, in my opinion, you can start seeing all the stars, the Milky Way. And I really love to be in this moment and just, look around while the camera is doing things, because once I set it up, there's not much I need to do actually. But I love just being in the nature, being in the moment, and appreciate all the beauty that I have around.
Yeah, we're very lucky in New South Wales to have a lot of locations like this, aren't we? Talking about one that's a bit further away, why don't we move on to your next photo?
So here we are in the Mango National Park. It's a very far national park, I say, in New South Wales, because it's pretty much on the border with Victoria, but it's just an amazing place. It's a desert with this formation of earth, pretty much, just sand that gets compacted, and then the rain pretty much erodes this formation and creates these unique shapes, and they keep on changing.
When you were driving to these locations, is there something special about the road trip that you love?
Yes, I definitely love the road trip. I love being on a van or like a mobile home where I can stop wherever I want. If I see something that I love, I just stay there and then I'll wait for the perfect condition and capture it. And you can definitely have this freedom exploring places that you probably normally wouldn't go to because you're not passing by.
Having the camera on a slider, what does that do for the time lapse?
It creates this amazing parallax effect of the foreground moving, even if so slightly, and it gives so much more 3D effect to the actual video. So instead of a static time lapse where it can be beautiful because you have some beautiful clouds moving by, once you put the camera on a slider, you give this slight movement of the foreground and it creates this incredible effect.
For people who are thinking about heading out into New South Wales to find some locations to shoot, what would be your top locations?
Well, some of my bucket list locations are definitely this Mango National Park. And one of my old favorites is the Blue Mountain National Park, where I've been many times, but it's more than a year that I haven't been there. So definitely Blue Mountains.
All right, and moving on to your final shot, something a little different, a shot of yours from Vivid.
Yeah, this is a shot from Vivid. And this is actually, of course, as you can probably guess, a composite image. And they are all layered together in Photoshop or whatever you're using. And you just keep just a specific part of the frame for each picture. So there is a shot in the sky from the last part of a sunset, just to give some color instead of having a black sky. And then all the rest is pretty much composite. So the projection of the opera house is a single frame from a time lapse. The lights on the Arbor Bridge are single frames from a time lapse just to get the color that I want, so the red and the blue. And even the lights coming out of the overseas passenger terminal are a different shot. The Vivid boat is a different shot. And then we have all the light trails from the ship, so long exposures, usually about 1 to 2 minutes long exposure, and they are all combined together to create this final image.
Nighttime photography in the city is not easy, and a lot of people love to do it. What's some top tips for people who are trying to take photos of Vivid?
Okay, definitely find some unique angles, I would say, because pretty much everybody shoots, from usual places. So if you find some nice, unique compositions, maybe some special framing. Could be just, just a tree that frames the opera house in a nice way. You can probably get some beautiful pictures. There are two different kind of pictures I think you can do during Vivid. One is long exposures, where you, of course, capture these trails of lights around the harbor, for example. But most of the projection on the opera house or on the bridge are pretty fast. So with long exposures, you would kind of miss all the details. So you also have to keep your shutter pretty fast.
In terms of nighttime photography, you don't only photograph Vivid in the city, you take other photos of the city. What can you tell me about them?
Definitely. Vivid is probably the most colorful moment of the year, but even when Vivid is not on, the city is beautiful at night. And incredibly, you wouldn't believe it, but you can see so many stars even in the middle of the city. It's something that I find very, very incredible, because where I come from, the city are so busy, so much light pollution, you almost can't see the stars at night.
Yeah, I think that sometimes we forget living in New South Wales is that like we've got this beautiful city around a harbour that has so much less light pollution than anywhere else in the world.
True, and it's unbelievably so. So I took so many pictures where you can see even the Milky Way in the city. And it's something I don't think you can do in many other big cities, probably.
For people that are wanting to get into time-lapse photography, how should they learn?
They should definitely come to me, I would say. Well, I usually run workshops around the city. These are usually aimed at professionals. They just want to expand their creativity and their tools, but they are for everybody. And just if you're passionate about it and you want to learn about time-lapse, that's what I do.
Filippo, thank you so much for your help today.
No worries. Thanks, Mitch. It was a pleasure.
Cheers. We'll talk soon.
Bye-bye.